Hi, I'm Jo Howarth from the Happiness Club and welcome to another one of my World of Happiness interviews. Today I'm ridiculously excited because I have the wonderful Jo Rubino from the Centre for Personal Reinvention, all the way from the US of A, across that enormous pond. Hi, Jo.
Hi, Jo. It's nice to be with you today.
Good to be with you. Good name, by the way.
Likewise.
Yes, very good. So, first question, very simply, what do you do?
Well, we support people to live their best lives. And that's a very broad statement that a lot of different components go into. My main specialty is self-esteem elevation, where we champion children and adults to feel good about themselves and to feel competent and capable, to feel worthy, to look upon others as the more they contribute to them, the more they get back in return. So it's not an ego thing, it's a contribution thing, and it's a mutuality where the more we're of service to others, creating value in the world, the more value we get back. And so wherever people are in their lives, we support them to create warmer, more loving relationships, greater prosperity, more happiness and fulfillment in their work and in their play, and basically to live lives without regret.
That is so cool. I love that. I love that you work with children on self-esteem too. One of the strands of my business is to go into schools and teach kids mindfulness techniques largely to help them manage difficult emotions. So I love that you don't just focus on the grown-ups. Go on.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's actually something that we do as well. We support both children and adults to manage their emotional reactiveness, which is a big component of self-esteem. Because when people are reacting emotionally, when they're at the effect of their moods, be it anger or sadness or fear, then they're not in control of how they're landing in the world, how they're coming across to others, and they're not responding deliberately in a way that supports them, that enhances their personal effectiveness and their charisma. So emotional reactivity is a big one that we'll talk a little bit more about as we go on here.
Yeah, and I think that's key, isn't it, to teach, especially for children, because I mean I come across adults all the time who don't realize that they're responsible for themselves and that they have the ability to be in control of their thoughts and their feelings and their behaviors. So I think that's huge for children to learn, especially, isn't it? That actually there's something I can do in this situation that I might not want to be in. There's something I can do to make myself feel better about it.
Well, it makes kids feel as though they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof when they realize that they're not at the effect of what other people's stuff is.
Yeah.
They don't have to be at the effect of bullying, at the effect of bad behavior, at the effect of people's anger or sadness or fear or judgment. They can actually recognize that the upsets are over there when they happen. 99% of an upset is about the other person, the person who's upset, and only 1% about you. So that gives kids and adults great personal freedom in recognizing that we always have the ability to be in control of our emotions and our responses to others in life. And not only does that make us more personally effective, but it's very calming, it's very peaceful, and it allows us to really be in charge of how we land with others, and to not constantly be this ping pong ball that's being tossed around at the effect of other people's whims and bad behavior or decisions.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it. So can you give us a bit more of an idea of why? Why do you do it? Why do you do what you do? Why did you start the centre? Where did it come from?
Well, the research that I've done over the last 26 years has pointed me in the direction that more than 85% of the people on our planet suffer from self-esteem issues in one or more of the 6 key areas of life. So whether that's their health and appearance, their wealth or finances, their career or their job, their occupation, their relationships being strained or not very fulfilling, the area of personal and spiritual development, and the area of having fun and recreating, pursuing their passions. So if you're not a 10 on a scale from 1 to 10 in all 6 of those areas, it's most likely because you have a thought about yourself as not being able to have it all in that respect. So some people have situational self-esteem issues where, for example, maybe you're not very good socially, but you're very good at math or at school, or just the opposite could be true. Or some people have more pervasive self-esteem issues where they don't feel good about themselves. They don't feel like they're capable or competent or worthy, or they belong, they're lovable. They feel that they're significantly flawed in one or more ways. So what we do is we show people that they made it up or they bought into someone else's negativity early on in life, as we all have. My own personal experience started at the age of 5 when I was bullied by in the schoolyard by some teenagers. And they tossed me around and I hit my head on concrete and went home with a concussion at 5 years old. And I made up that people were mean and cruel and that I was weak and couldn't take care of myself and that the world was a dangerous place. And so I became an extreme introvert. I protected myself from people by avoiding them. And I became a dentist because people couldn't talk back to me. And all of the decisions in my life were based upon this early decision that I made at 5 years old that people were dangerous. And so it wasn't until I entered into personal development at the age of 35 that I realized that I made up a lot of this stuff and I bought into a lot of negativity from others. And importantly, we all have the ability to shift out of these interpretations that don't support us. We can actually create interpretations that empower us. We can decide to live from a declaration of the person that we want to be known for rather than however we think the default landed with us. In other words, we think that we're flawed, we're unlovable, we're not good enough, we're somehow defective in so many areas. And that's the lie. Because when we realize that life is a process, and when we get clarity around managing our commitments, we can now make intelligent choices and decisions that guide us in life that align with those commitments and honor our values and speak to the qualities that we want to be known for. So we can live deliberately as opposed to living at the effect of whatever it is that we made up about ourselves and others in the world, which is how most people are living their lives.